All right, no fancy light setup, no fancy mic. You probably see all the cords and shit everywhere. I just want to kind of reflect and express some level of gratitude towards never quitting. I mean, when I was, so a lot of you guys don't know this. I wasn't always, I wasn't always just working in an office, here for myself. I had 2 or 3 jobs, 4 jobs maybe previously. I worked at this place called Get Air. And Get Air was a trampoline park, pretty much. And my boss, named Camden, was my boss. And then, which is funny because later down the road, I'll explain. And then I had this other job, KFC. And then I had this other job. I was working at a gym as like the front, check-in person. And through all of those jobs, I prioritize, and this is what kills me, is some people talk about just not having enough time to be able to dedicate towards an online business or amounting to anything. And it just kills me. It kills me because I was no different. I'm no different than you guys. I'm no different than anybody on this world. I had jobs and I had rent and I had bills to pay. For a long time, I spent many years in a like $700 to $800 month apartment, which this was during like inflation hikes where apartments were like $1,500 to $2,000. I found the most shitty apartment in the entire world. It didn't have working gas. It didn't have working lights. It didn't have working fucking anything. It was terrible. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have a TV. I didn't have pillows. I didn't have a blanket. I had a couple towels that I had brought in, and I was able to cover myself with towels. And one of the funny parts is, like, my family was never broke. My mom actually offered to pay my rent many times, and I declined every single time. I think it was just a point to prove it to myself that I can do it. And I understood that if I wanted to make any progress, that I needed to just simply put my back against the wall. And with your back against the wall, there's only one way that you can go, and it's forward. And listen, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to end up doing at all. I went through so many different business models. I had tried so many different things. I found success in some, and then some failures in others. And goodness, it was to the point where one time I had taken a trade on Amazon earnings, and I had like $10,000 saved up. This was my entire life. Every dollar I had ever made, I put it on this trade, and I had lost it. I lost every dollar. And so that month I needed to pay for rent. And so I didn't have any money just stored up or saved. I used it all. Anyway, I figured out how I could, sum up some money and was able to pay rent. And one thing I always just knew is that one day I was gonna do it. One day I was gonna make it big. One day I was gonna make the $1 million. That was my goal back then. And I never gave up. I never gave up because I think I knew the alternative. Right? If I continue trying, there's a chance that something good happens to me. But if I don't try at all, then there's a guaranteed chance that nothing great will happen to me, as well as I'm going to spend the entirety of my life in a corporate typical job. And now that's just not for me. I'm not going to sit here and say like everybody needs to, become an entrepreneur and make millions of dollars. Like, I get that there are some people that just, they're not destined to do it, and that they just don't want to do it. And I'm not going to sit here and push that on anybody because, frankly, I think I had more free time broke than I do now. Everybody wants to, quote unquote, escape the rat race, but then I think those are people who are still man, haven't achieved anything. I think those are people that are just speaking a whole lot of fluff. Anything you see online where people are just showcasing this amazing, crazy lifestyle are people that you should be ever so slightly cautious about taking advice from, because how they got their money, I'm not sure, because it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, it takes sitting down and working 15, 20 hours every single day to achieve something of any value, especially in the earlier stages. And when I was, like fucking living like terrible in that apartment, I knew that one day something was going to happen. I knew it. And I knew that if I just continued to try, that something would happen. It wasn't about trying to find the right thing. It was about just trying as many things as I could until I found the right thing. You know what I mean? And I wasn't trying to, oversee all of the, the market and identify this is what I should be doing. I wasn't, because I didn't know that. I didn't know. I was no different than you guys, where you feel like you start and you have no idea which direction to go. You have no idea who to talk to, what books to read. You have no idea anything. You don't know. I was in that position too. And the only thing I did was just try things. I started with e-commerce, and then I moved to stocks, and then I got into crypto, and then I got into everything you could imagine. Affiliate links, affiliate marketing, OFM, everything you could think of. You name it, I've tried it. And it even got to the extent where I wanted to maybe take a college class to just learn how to do coding, so that I could be some kind of software engineer, because I didn't know. I just wanted to try everything. And through trying everything, obviously I found some wins. And when you find some wins, you kind of start to realize what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. All it takes is one win. If you get one win, it gives you enough faith and inspiration to keep moving. Because once you get that one win, it shows that you can do it. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of how many times do I need to keep trying for it to happen again. And soon you realize once you get this first win, all you need to do is just do that again, and then do that again. Maybe it's you want to start an SMMA, agency, and all you need is your first client. You know what I mean? And so you spend a full month cold outreach to, hundreds of people every single day, if not thousands. And then you finally get your first win, all right? You sign your first client. You take them on and you start making your first amount of money. What that does is it shows you that what you just did works. Theoretically, all you need to do is just keep doing that, more outreach. You know what I mean? And then you start to learn and you start to understand, okay, well, if my time is spent doing outreach and I can accumulate these leads, and these leads are paying me $2,000 a month, I can keep living well below my means, and I can pay somebody else to do the outreach for me. And now it's two of us doing outreach, and now we can double, the clients coming in. And then you start to understand what works and what doesn't. And then, you have clients leave. So then you start realizing, okay, these are things that I shouldn't have done to help, retention and help keep the clients around and whatnot. But those are the learning lessons that you're actually finally learning now that you're involved in the business. You know what I mean? Those are things you didn't know previously, but now you know. And then you start building a little bit of momentum, where you start kind of understanding what things are. You start to kind of understand, how to manage and operate a business, and you start getting your first win, you start getting paid. And then out of nowhere, things start going really good and you start making a ton of money. It requires probably, if we were to put a number on it, it requires 600% of you and your involvement before you've had any wins. It requires so much of you that it's exhausting. I mean, if depending on how fast you want to win, what I can say is I don't even want people to try to aspire to be me or aspire to do the things that I've done, because frankly, I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. I think that it's difficult and it's scary and it's risky, and to achieve the things that I have achieved at my age this fast is not aspirational. It's hectic, it's insane, and it's sacrificing way more than you need to get to this level at some point, whether it's maybe 25. I mean, I was a millionaire at 18, so imagine the things that I have sacrificed before turning 18. All of my high school years, everything. And what's funny is it's worth it. Some rich people say, you know, money's not everything. It's not worth it once you get there or whatever. And I'm like, well, I just saw Camden. I went to my first car show for like the first time in like fucking 9 years. And I saw my boss at Get Air there. And he had a GTR, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. But I was pulling in a 2024 Lamborghini Huracan Technica. And that felt great. It felt amazing knowing that we were all given the same exact time frame. We were all given the exact same amount of time, knowledge, skills, resources, everything. And this is what I was able to achieve opposed to everybody else, you know, at the car meet. And I was 23 and I was rolling up with the nicest car at the entire car meet. And it was a nice car meet. And I was also the youngest one there. So I gotta say, it is worth it. And realistically, all it takes is one win. Anytime I start a new marketing acquisition, I seriously prioritize getting my first win, my first subscriber, my first member, my first student, my first anything. Because if I can get the first one, then it means that I can do it again. And then I just look at different ways to like make it faster, whether it's using softwares to do outreach better, whether it's using YouTube to hit a bigger audience, whether it's using Instagram to hit a bigger audience, whether it's hiring people to do that task for me, it doesn't matter, right? It means I was able to do it once. Why would I not be able to do it again? So anyway, I just kind of wanted to come on here and just kind of talk and it not be like a fancy lighting or anything and just kind of explain what it takes. It takes one win, but oh man, is that win worth it? Peace out.